Hey y'all, welcome back to In the Kitchen with Baker Girl. Thank you, Jesus. It is a beautiful day to be in the kitchen. Today, I am going to share with you how I store large amounts of flour for up to 1 year. Now, being a baker, I buy flour in very large quantities. This is my favorite all-purpose brand, which is King Arthur all-purpose flour. You can find it at just about any grocery store. You can also find it in 5-pound bags. There are 10-pound bags. Here I have a 25-pound bag. Incidentally, it does come larger. And I have just regular zip bags. I add the date and the flour, and I also add the protein content, which in this all-purpose King Arthur flour is 11.7%. It's always good to know what's the protein type of your flour, especially if, in this case, I have a very large bag and I'm breaking it down into smaller bags. I could very possibly forget what's the protein content because the original bag, I'm not going to store the flour in. So it's a good idea to just jot it down on your freezer bag right along with the date and everything else. And of course, if you're curious more about flour and about protein contents in flour and what all of that means, I do have a video on my channel. I have a playlist, a Let's Chat About Ingredients, and I have a video where I chat with you all about flour, proteins, and bleached versus unbleached, and all that good stuff. So check that video out if you are interested. Now, I put my flour up into several different bags, but of course, this is entirely up to you how much flour you use. You can use large 2.5-gallon bags if you want to put up that amount. I'm just happy with these 1-gallon bags and just pull it out of the freezer as I need it. And that is another point I want to get to. I will be freezing my flour. Of course, you can store flour in the refrigerator. I prefer to store it in the freezer. And there's a couple of reasons why I prefer to store my flour in the freezer. Number one, we have oftentimes more freezer space than we do refrigerator space. Okay, let's just face that. And thing two, the freezer is freezing. It's much colder than a refrigerator where your flour just kind of sit there and languish in a refrigerator. This quantity of flour, obviously 1 bag would be fine. But if you're putting up flour, you'll find that your freezer will be more useful than storing 25 pounds of flour in the refrigerator. And of course, whatever's left, I just add it to my flour bin. And this is my everyday flour bucket. And there they are. Now, I left room because you want to be able to seal them up and remove a good portion of the air out of the bag as much as you are able to get out of the bag. If you have one of those vacuum sealers where you can suck the air out of the bag, that is perfectly fine. And just look at the texture of this flour. That is what I love about King Arthur's flour. The flour has a very good texture. It's very fine. It's not like some flours are a little bit coarser. Theirs is very nicely, finely ground. And this is unbleached, so it does have a little bit of a tint to it, which is natural for all natural flours. And I'm just closing it up. Get as much of the air as possible out of the bag. If you feel more comfortable, you can double bag your flour because, of course, flour does take on smells from, whether it's freezers or refrigerators. So if you feel more comfortable, you can double bag. Especially if you are thinking of freezing this past a year, which I think I have not exactly tested that, but I think it should be fine. But I'm aiming for at the most a year. Now, if truth be told, flour does not last me very long, but at least I know I do have 5 backup bags in my freezer ready to go. And you can use flour straight out of the freezer. You don't have to bring it to room temperature. You can if you're doing something that it could be a bit of a shock to your recipe, such as yeast, doughs, or whatever. You may want to use room temperature flour. In that case, just set it out on the counter for about an hour, and flour thaws very quickly because it doesn't actually freeze. It just stays in a super cold state because obviously it's dry. There's no moisture, so it doesn't actually freeze. And it comes to room temperature very quickly. So just take it out and set it on the counter. Now, this is something that I actually inherited from my mother. Mom used to add little scriptures of praise or blessings on anything she was doing, whether she was canning or freezing, whatever it was. She would add little clips of blessings or praise. She would put thank you, Jesus, or, something giving thanks for having food, because not everybody is so richly blessed to be able to put food away, in any sort of quantities, whether it's a tiny amount or a large amount. So just putting a blessing and some praise on your food is always a good thing to do. Just being grateful to the Lord for blessing you to have a bounty, and it's enough where you can have some in store. And that's just something I inherited from my mother, and is something that I do to this day. So if you peek in my freezers or in my pantry, you'll find things with little scriptures on them. And I'm just vacuuming up my work surface because, flour goes everywhere. And I like my little vacuum cleaner. This is just for my kitchen and just for my countertop surfaces. And this little handy dandy cordless, it's rechargeable. It's a cordless vacuum cleaner, and it just zaps it up right away. And it's very nice because you can take all the detachable parts to it and just throw them in the sink and wash them. And there's a little glimpse of the blessings that I put on. God so loved the world. And then there is another one. The Lord your God is with you wherever you go, and blessed. And if you have food enough to put away or to share with someone, you are indeed blessed. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little video on how you can store flour for up to a year. If you have, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe and leave a comment and let me know if you have any questions about storing flour. And the good Lord willing, I'll see you in the next video.